16, 15, 14, 13, 12.
Hey, welcome to the Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. I'm your host, Coach V, and I'm joined by my co-host and hostesses, Peepaw and Dr. Try. All praise, all honor. It's a great time of the year. Fantasy drafts are happening everywhere. Everything's going down. 1.5 ish weeks till the NFL season starts. All the wives around the world breathe a collective fuck. So, how is y'all's fantasy world?
Great. I finished up 2 drafts this past week, and I had struggled with getting a diversity of guys on the team. I tend have a tendency to pick the same guys. I want to spread out the love a little bit, not get too focused on one guy and try to hoard him on all my leagues. If he does bad, the entire week sucks upcoming. So try to avoid the misery and pitfalls that is fantasy football each week and try to spread the love a little bit. And I think I wound up with some halfway decent teams, but you can't win the league at the draft, but you can certainly lose it. So hopefully we didn't get off on a bad foot.
Whoa. Nice wisdom.
Damn right. I like that. That's only something a peepaw would know. So yeah, I had a draft myself. I'm in a church league, so I expected some guys to fall. A lot of people just having fun, and it started with the 1.1. So I'm gonna put this guy on blast. Probably the worst draft I've ever seen, like from one person. So the 1.1, and this is not super flex. CJ Stroud. Then fourth round, we go ahead and take Cowboys defense. 5th round, Justin Tucker. Let's follow that up with 3 mediocre tight ends. Not even top tier, just regular ones. And then let's not forget to get our backup kicker and our 3rd string kicker a little bit later.
That's my guy.
People, he's been listening to too much Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast, but yeah, his first time playing, I guess he wanted to have the hardest kicking team. I don't know, but I had a little bit of a blunder in the second round. I was at the 9 spot, and our buddy Joe, huge fan, listener of the show, huge good friend. He had the 10 spot, I had the 9 spot. I thought I'd force his hand because I didn't think he'd go double Lions. So I went Garrett Wilson, hoping for, and Amon-Ra was still there at 9. I passed on him. It was dumb, but you know what? I have a feeling about Garrett Wilson this year. And anyway, I was hoping Gibbs would fall. He took St. Brown and Gibbs. So anyway, I ended up with Garrett Wilson and A.J. Brown. Not too bad, but you know, I feel like I left a little bit on the bone there, and definitely could have. I just didn't want to be faced with the double Lion decision, even though it's a good offense to invest in. But I'm nitpicky like that. I don't want the same wide receiver and running back and all that, but. Coach V, you have any drafts?
I realized today that I don't have any more drafts, and it was really sad because, like, in my head, I thought there was more drafting to do, and so I was like, "This sucks." Like, I want more fantasy drafts, but yeah. So I'm done, and I'm in 2 dynasty leagues. I guess I'm not going to be playing any season long this year, so that's a weird thing. If I had known this was happening, I would have signed up for a season long somewhere. I guess I still could, but yeah, I was like, oh crap. So, anyways, drafting is over for me. The guys I have are who I have, and we finished our dynasty draft. I think that wasn't done when we did the podcast last week. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's over with. That took way longer than it should have. But hey, you know, some people need 8 hours to take an auto pick, and that's fine.
Yeah, everyone just quit giving a shit.
Yeah, so but I was happy with my dynasty draft. I got some like guys that I was interested in, and so yeah, it's time. It's fantasy time, and this is our favorite. I mean, we've only been doing the podcast for a year, but this is our favorite podcast episode of the year. I think this is the God Squad episode, and so we love this. I think it's one of our most original things where we come up with the guys. Superfan Matt, he lives for it. He took off work to go like be here for the God Squad episode tonight. Um, he doesn't care. He loves the God Squad. So why I love the God Squad because it's realistic. It's not like some people who are like, oh, we'll get Amon Ra in the first and then get turn right back around and get Christian McCaffrey in the second. I mean, that's easy. It makes sense to me. So I like it because it's realistic. Why do y'all love the God Squad?
It's just so different. It's more or less like you get a little bit of insight with a little bit of sleeper picks potentially that someone might not be thinking about, and while other discussion people, podcasters are talking about the best of the best that everyone already knows about. Let's shed some insight on some of these lesser known guys or some guys you may not be thinking about later in the draft, and some guys that still have a lot of potential to improve upon where they're drafted at.
Yeah, I like the God Squad because it is the most original thing on YouTube. And we have, a lot of people come out for it. We have 3 people listening right now. So it's a big episode for us. We're gonna bring the noise. Basically this is and we might have taken some different approaches on it, but still kind of the same idea. Basically, the only rule is no first rounders are allowed on the God Squad. Um, and you can kind of approach it as like, okay, this is my favorite second round guys, favorite third round guy, favorite fourth round guy. Um, I kind of looked at it as who I think can exceed their ADP, who's going to have great output from that, who's a potential league winner that maybe you don't expect. And tried to cover every, most of the starting positions. I didn't cover kicker like some of us would want. But I think I got some good guys in there, and we get a little bit silly with with the graphics and everything, and just get a chance to do our thing. So anyway, very excited, and looks like Superfan Matt really interested to know who's on Peepaw's
Oh,
God Squad,
Sort of.
because because I guess it's his first time doing it. So anyway, I think he'll prove everybody that he's ready. So let's see, we're all ready to go. But I believe we wanted to our executive producer Peepaw had a great idea with how to determine who goes first, second, or third.
Hope you guys have been brushing up on your rock, paper, scissors. Ready to go live?
I suck
See
it.
who goes first?
Should we do rock, paper, scissors shit?
yeah, yeah.
You got it.
Okay.
Rock,
Rock, paper,
paper,
scissors,
scissors.
shit.
All right,
Oh,
people.
So does that mean first?
I think that
Yeah.
means you're first.
So now me and Vinny find out
So
second
me
and
and
third.
you go for second. All right. Rock,
Rock,
paper,
paper,
scissors,
scissors.
shoot.
Shoot.
Okay.
This is
All
the
right.
So
content the people come for.
yeah, that was dynamic.
Live action, rock, paper, scissors here. Only a third
Oh,
quarter.
so much delay.
Yeah, that's a lot of delay. But I threw paper and you threw rock, so
Yes.
I'll go second. And that's nice. So, you get to like finish up and leave a taste in everyone's mouth. And I know how you like to do that. So
Well, with that, let's give Superfan Matt what he's been waiting for. So here we go
give Matt a taste.
with the drum roll, God Squad for 2024.
Ooh.
All right. So we rolled on this. It was a mixture of guys I really enjoy. I've got some of these guys on several of my squads between my 3 leagues, and um, guys when I was drafting, I looked at, I'm like, oh, can't believe he's still available. So just roll down the list. I got some wide receivers on split on one side and running backs on the other. They don't like to play together, so they decided to split rooms here today. First on the list, we got Lam McConkey, the rookie wide receiver for the Chargers. ADP sitting roughly around 88. Currently shown on Sleeper as far as the number one wide receiver on the team. Chargers kind of disbanded over the offseason and rebuilding, so he is their new start. I drafted him late. I can't remember exactly which round it was in one of them, but hoping he breaks out and has a great season. We know Justin Herbert's a fantastic quarterback, so I think we got some high hopes here for some bright talent out of his really good production from college ball, hoping that transitions over into the pros. Jake Ferguson, tight end, Dallas Cowboys. I hate taking anyone on the Cowboys just despite the organization, but sometimes you got to do the nasty. We got Ferguson here, 80
Not a Ferguson fart. That's a Cowboys fart.
There you go. ADP sitting 86 right now. Last year finished at tight end number 9. Towards the second half of the season, most of the games he was targeted at least 8 times, with a lot of those being end zone targets. So something love to see out of your tight end and a team that can move the ball as well as the Cowboys can. So I like taking him a little bit later. You got these guys that are going really early for Sam Laporta, your Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. Let those guys go early. Let those other people use up their draft picks in those first couple rounds and save your tight ends for later. It seems the tight end class has really grown. So I've been liking him. I tried to get him last year after he broke up on the scene, but missed my chance and hoping pans out this year.
He's
Scary Terry McLaurin. Yes, Fergalicious. Scary Terry McLaurin, wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. Wide receiver 1 yet again on the squad. He was shown at an ADP of 68 for a wide receiver 1. Last year finished as the wide receiver 28. Not quite sure how he's going to sit out there that long. I guess people aren't looking at the Commanders as a powerful offense based on their production from last year, but you got your new quarterback in the squad. Trying to rebuild the backfield a smidge with Austin Eckler, hoping to revive a little bit of that. But McLaurin's got it. He's a playmaker. He was on the field for at least 85% of the snaps for all the offense last season, almost the entire season. So he's out there. He's going to play. He's going to demand those targets. Tank Dell, love the man.
Can I get a Dell? Yeah, brother.
That's right. We love some Tank Dell here. He might be, I don't know where he's at on this depth chart for the Texans, but we got this. Who cares? Exactly. We love him. I took him, pass up on Nico Collins in one of my drafts and opted for Tank later, a couple rounds after that. Ended up getting a stack with Tank and CJ Stroud in one of my leagues, so hoping that pans out well. And it'll just be interesting to see how that team plays out with these 3 stud wide receivers. And we know Tank's got it. He was shot. Man comes back. He's Brazilian as all get out. God love him. He's on the God Squad this year for Peeps.
Can I get a Dell? Yeah, brother.
We got some Brock Purdy. He, personally to me, I had him last year. Fantastic. I struggled each week whether to start him or Josh Allen each week. He currently is going at the ADP of 90. I know typically your quarterbacks are going maybe around 4 or 5, but sitting that late for a guy who finished as QB6 last season and he missed a game on top of that, and I believe he was probably injured for another game on top of that. So QB6 is fantastic for a guy that you can snag in maybe the 9th, 10th round, or some guys are getting as his second quarterback on the team. Fantastic draft capital, in my opinion. Definitely I would start as my QB1 on my squad. Switching over to running backs, we got Jalen Warren. Steelers, man. I liked him last year. I believe a year before that as well. He seemed like a guy that had some oomph to him. And just behind Najee Harris, he's never really gotten that chance, but he's got the speed. He's a little spunky kid. Catch the ball in the backfield, and he's now got a coach that loves to run the ball. It's like Baltimore, and I don't want to say the name into existence here. We all know who we're talking about here. But guy loves running the ball, so I'm hoping that Jalen Warren will get plenty of touches this year. ADP sitting just above 100, just under 100, I guess, at 97, depending which format you're drafting in. So, once again, get him pretty late for a guy who finished at the running back 22 last year. With his scarcity, some running backs are to come by and injuries happen throughout the year. Solid draft capital getting a guy that late in the draft. Devon Achane, Speedy McGee on the speedster of all teams. The only guy staying his way is Raheem Mostert. How on earth the man's still alive and chugging, Lord will only know. But he did not make this God squad. Devon Achane did, so GTFO Raheem Mostert.
Oh, he's nothing more than a common butt cheese boy.
Thank you. Devon Achane, you're my dude. I loved him last year. I had him, picked him up off waivers, or might even drafted him last year. Drafted in 12th round last year. Actually, he was a keeper in one of my leagues. He fantastic potential. He'll be breaking out for 200-yard games. Call it 5 times a season.
Oh, wow.
Hot take.
1,000 yards in 5 games.
Hey, he don't make the guy for nothing.
Wow.
That should speak for itself. He finished the RB 20. A-Chain Train. That's right. He finishes the RB 24 last year and missed 6 games on top of that. He still got Raheem Mostert in his way, but I think that this is the year that Achane's going to take the lead running back role, and I believe he put on some weight as well, and he won't go flying in the stands whenever someone takes a whack at him. So stay on that field, keep chugging them legs, and keep moving forward, Achane. You're going to be the wide receiver. Or I'm going to take home the running back 8 this year. Top 8 guy.
Nice.
Assuming he stays healthy, of course. That's the old caveat there. Isaiah Pacheco, another guy, once again, drafted last year, 7th round. Here's my other keeper I had in a different league. He's a guy that has no competition on his team. I don't believe the Chiefs really drafted any other running backs to take his spot, so he's got a clear path forward for some more yards. And last year, he finished as the RB 15 and missed 3 games throughout the year. Fantastic potential for this guy out of the backfield. We know Chiefs love moving the ball through the air. PPR machine. James Cook, RB12 last year. For something clicked in the middle of last year. I don't know if it was a coaching change with the Bills, but he had it going and couldn't stop him for anything. It looked like the old Dalvin Cook. So the gene's running the fam. Hopefully James can keep chugging this year and keep the Bills moving, because it seems like he might be all they got besides Josh Allen. So James Cook, keep chugging them legs for it. I don't put you on the God squad for nothing. I expect big things out of you. And last, we got Gus Edwards, ADP sitting at 113 for a RB1 on the depth chart. Another team, I believe, with the Chargers, just like the Commanders, no one's really thinking about them based on the dismal season they had last year. Chargers are rebuilding. I'm taking over the 2 running backs from the Ravens last season, and loved what Gus Edwards had going last year. And I don't know another team where you can get the running back 1 on the depth chart in the 11th or 12th round of your draft. He was definitely a guy I picked for his potential and upside to beat where his ADP is showing that he can go for this year. So on top of that, you've got Harbaugh as the coach now in LA, and we know the man loves running the ball. And who runs the ball? Gus Edwards runs the ball. Who gets the yards? Gus Edwards gets the yards. Love these guys. They are my God squad for 2024. You heard it here first.
Wow.
Man. Yeah.
Impressive. Nice presentation.
I like that.
Wow.
If you don't want to run through a wall after that, I don't know what we'll get there.
And you know what I like a lot is 8 of your guys are smiling.
It's a
That's
very happy
huge. they're happy to be on the God Squad.
Are you
James
counting
Cook with a
James
little
Cook?
smirk.
Okay, yeah. I was wondering because James Cook looks like he's being sarcastic with his smile. He's like,
Now,
And
James Cook, he's like anointed. Yeah.
And Jalen Warren looks like he was in the same car with Rashee Rice when they got arrested.
James
no,
Cook has that look on his face whenever like you're getting lectured by like your dad and you're in the back seat and you're just like
bro. Yeah. The other thing I really like about this squad is just value everywhere. Like I think the earliest, let's see, A Chain or Pacheco in like this. Well, A Chain's probably second, Pacheco's third. And then other than that, you just got value throughout. Like all of these guys are attainable. You just have to want them. So I mean, there's, you know, I'd say you achieved what we were looking to do here, and not just putting first rounders up because that's not what we do. We want people to find those values. I love the amount of stats that you had in your God Squad too. Like I know that's something I have 0 stats, so just get ready for some opinions whenever I go up. But yeah, really cool God Squad peeps.
A plus.
nice God Squad. I like Terry McLaurin. I think that's a good one. I wasn't even thinking about. Superfan Matt likes Lad McConkey. I think Lad McConkey's like a name that I've heard, but I haven't really put thought into it. And so you like put thought into, oh yeah, hey, they have to throw the ball to someone, and he's the number one. And then also like Gus Bus with all the goal line carries last year, he was kind of a second thought on Baltimore, but he was just like racking up goal line carries left and right. So why can't he do that plus more here?
And I think we took a bet a couple weeks ago, but if we thought that J.K. Dobbins was going to last more than 2 games, I don't know if he's really going to last that long this year. So even better for Gus Bus.
Yeah, I think oh yeah, I was just gonna say, Jahan Dotson leaving, just opens up even more for Scary Terry. So that's exciting. I like that you're not scared of anything going on in Houston. Just throwing Tank Dell on there because he's a beast. And then also just to point out, like I have kind of the pivots to some of these guys on my God Squad, but it just shows how deep everything is this year. How you can have different takes, and either one could be league winners. So, but yeah, very interesting.
I really liked going through my drafts. I really did like the running back depth mid to late
Yeah.
in the draft. It was really nice to see because typically you see this massive drop off, but this year it seems to be getting a little bit bigger with all these timeshare backfields. But hey, you come here for the value, I got you.
You're a value man. You are a value shopper in real life. So
Ooh, love me saving some pennies.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
okay, so based on rock paper scissors, my God Squad is next. So I have a little Sistine Chapel action. The nearness to groins has nothing to do with their ability level nor their penis size. That's just where I put them. I think I have 8, 9 guys. So I'll start off with. We'll start with the QBs. So I just got Jared Goff. I've talked about Jared Goff a lot already. I do have the actual stat now. I've been putting it out a little bit wrong, but 8 out of Jared Goff's first 12 games are indoors. So that says a lot for Jared Goff, who doesn't typically play well on the road or outdoors. He's only going to be outdoors 8 out of 12 times, 4 times in his first 12 games. Now, if he's in your fantasy playoffs, he is like outside the rest of the season. So just dump him and get someone else going. But he will get you to the fantasy playoffs. Trust me, because he's executing the game plan on a very efficient offense, a very effective offense. you can get Jared Goff super late in your draft. Why not have him on your team? Like, I think I had him on my team last year. I think I had him on maybe one team this year. He's the way to go. So
Jared
let's
Goff.
go. Yeah, rock on. I wish he would come to the game like in like black leather pants and like a Nightmare Before Christmas backpack and maybe a beanie with some slack and just
Yeah,
embrace Jared Goff all the way.
maybe a like a cat tail too, and be a
So we'll slide over to the RB. So Derrick Henry, he is overseeing the finger touch between God and whoever that guy is. I think that's Adam, but either way. So Derrick Henry, new scenery. He's a value. I mean, like, where is Derrick Henry going? Y'all have done more drafts than me, apparently. Is he like third, fourth?
He is,
second.
yeah,
Second.
definitely second. ADP of 20 currently, so second round.
So, I mean, I think just imagine. Well, let's talk about Gus Bus. Look at what Gus Bus did last year, and that's Gus Edwards. Now it's Derrick Henry. Let's just play that out. So I think
Don't be hurting my feelings here.
no, different squad, different team, and so I think Henry's going to have a big year, and there's a pretty high ceiling for Henry. He's a big man. He takes care of his body. I believe in the king, and he's motivated. He knows that he's got a short amount of time. Baltimore knows they have a short window to like win this thing, and they're going to get after it. So definitely believing in Derrick Henry as maybe your first running back you take. If you want to take an early running back, get Derrick Henry, and don't look behind you. Don't think you made a bad decision. Just roll with it. Joe Mixon, they have promised in Houston that he is getting a heavy workload. He might get injured with a heavy workload, but they are going to feed him the shit out of the ball. Now, don't go and pick up Dameon Pierce as your backup because we all know we don't want Dameon Pierce on our squad.
That's on last year's God squad.
Yeah. Now, what could be interesting here is I heard this theory this morning, and this on a show that was recorded like 2 weeks ago. But they were like, if Denver lets go of Piron, let's put the band back together and have Piron come on out to Houston.
Oh,
Lo and behold, today Denver lets go of Piron. Now, I think Samaje Piron could end up in Houston, but I think more than likely Samaje Piron ends up in Dallas because what's going to happen. So Samaje Piron could be an interesting pickup. I don't think he's a God Squad member, but all that to say, Joe Mixon, nice value, going to get a ton of workload in a dynamic Houston offense. We saw what Devin Singletary could do. It's really just kind of like do your job in Houston and you'll be successful. And Joe Mixon knows how to do his job. He's been doing it for years in Cincinnati. Chase Brown, I think Chase Brown's going to have a great year. He showed those flashes last year. I've been kind of, as the preseason's been going on, been thinking more about Chase Brown as a good piece of the puzzle and someone you can get later in your draft who could like develop into getting all the snaps, all the first, 3 down back snaps, or could be a timeshare on a pretty dynamic offense. I feel like we all just forgot about Cincy because of what happened to Joe Burrow last year. So there's like more value, like even Jamar Chase, there's like Jamar Chase value. There's Joe Burrow value just because we forgot about Cincy last year. And so you can take advantage of that with Chase Brown. So we'll head on down to Penis Town. And and so I didn't realize I was going to make so many like penis jokes and references. Just I'm 3. It's okay. So Drake London, he's definitely going higher in drafts, but I still think he's valuable. He's not a first rounder, but he's like a second, third rounder for sure. And I mean, I think I'm not like going nuts saying what everyone else is saying. Different quarterback who can actually throw the ball. Drake London has value. We're all like banking on the Falcons to have value now that there's someone else who can actually throw the football. Drake London is a clear-cut wide receiver 1 who's been able to get by on some scraps the past few years, and now he might have an actual quarterback, barring Kirk Cousins getting hurt. But even if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, Michael Penis, oh, wow, look at that connection. Oh, that just happened live on stage. So, I mean, Michael Penix Jr. could, sling some stuff toward Drake London. This segment is not informative, but it is entertaining, and that's all that matters. So down next to the groin area, knee bone ish, is we have Jameson Williams. I think Jameson Williams takes that next step, becomes a true number 2 wide receiver, and isn't just a deep threat. I think he becomes the deep threat plus more by necessity. I think they want that for him, and so they've been developing him into that this offseason. So I think Jameson Williams takes the right step, and he's a value pick that you can get, and you're getting a clear-cut number 2 for sure on a great offense. It's almost like your Lions have become kind of expensive in as draft-wise, but Jameson Williams is still cheap. I mean, Laporte is expensive. Gibbs is expensive. Sun got expensive. Where's your value? Montgomery and Williams. So you just got to pick. Do you believe in either one of those guys? And if you do, take one and get a piece of that action on Detroit. And then is it Adonai Mitchell or Adonai? Adonai Mitchell. I hate it because I'm a Michael Pittman owner and I traded for him. But I think Richardson is connecting with Mitchell better. I think they have more connection. It just seems like it in the preseason. It seems like in the route running. I don't think Anthony Richardson can feed 2 receivers in Indy unless his passing has just truly taken the next step over the offseason. But how could it? He was injured, just trying to rehab. So if you got to pick 2 between the 2, I might go Mitchell here, and that's why he's on the God Squad. I think him and Richardson have a connection, but then it's him and Richardson don't have a connection. Oh, Richardson's face got destroyed and his knees are shredded to pieces. We got old man Joe Flacco, and he's going to take care of him, and he's going to get him the ball, and he can feed 2 receivers for sure. So I feel like either way you're set with Mitchell. So that's why I like him. And then we got our tight ends. So just like Peepaw, I like Jake Ferguson. He gets so many targets. Dallas, by their actions this offseason, barring adding a running back after cuts happen, they basically said, we don't give about running the ball. We're just going to throw it everywhere, anywhere we can. And Ferguson got so many targets last year, and I think that's just going to continue because last year they were at least trying to pretend that Tony Pollard is a thing. And this year they're just we don't even need a running back. So Jake Ferguson, great value pick. And then I feel like I've been talking about Isaiah Likely all offseason. I love Isaiah Likely. I think it's going to be a thing. I think it's going to be a big thing. So
it's likely.
It's quite likely. I think Isaiah Likely overtakes Mark Andrews this offseason, this season. I think. And it's going to be some combination of performance, but also injuries on Mark Andrews' part, because they're treating Isaiah Likely like a starter. He hasn't played this preseason. He has been treated like a starter. So I think they're ready to kind of pass that torch. They're tired of that kind of up and down. Mark Andrews is hurt, playing through injury. Isaiah Likely's young. He's shown great flashes. So I think he's going to be a top 10 tight end. Why not? Let's go top 10 tight end for Isaiah Likely. Let's put that. Let's make sure we revisit this at the end of the season so I can look like a real dick.
Everyone hold Vinny accountable.
Isaiah Likely just does absolute nothing. But I really think he's going to do something. So I think I have him on both of my teams, I believe. because I think he's going to do something this year. So there you have it. That's my God Squad, penis jokes and everything. Hey,
I just want to say that everyone wants to jump on that bandwagon for the Lions after they start doing something finally. Where were you during those tough years, man? No one wanted Jared Goff in the tough years. I say that like he's
Right.
been in the team for years, but you get it. Um, love Jameson Williams, the value of him. ADP sitting at 111, so a lot of value there. Chase Brown too, unless you get someone that eyes him before you, solid as well.
yeah,
Adonai Mitchell, I watched a little bit of the preseason game against the Bengals, and he caught a touchdown pass. Basically, ran across the middle of the field and ran in the end zone with an easy touchdown. So, he's got it, and he's got the potential. I actually had Drake London and swapped him for Ladd. So, um, definitely think the value's there. Kirk Cousins, a upgrade for sure at quarterback, and we know Kirk can feed a wide receiver one with Justin Jefferson, so why not let the same be said for Drake London here? But I support.
Support. Yeah, so Drake London, almost unanimous God Squad member on all three of us, because I know Peepaw was thinking about putting him on. I almost put him on mine. So it almost happened. Let's see. I don't think we have, and I don't think we have like a consensus one person that's on everybody. So that's interesting. But yeah, Adonai Mitchell putting the AD and ADP ENIS over there. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Drake London, love that. I think he's one of my favorite second round picks. I think he's just due for a breakout. He's had such shitty quarterback play and still done pretty good despite it. But yeah, finally having a QB. Finally, Arthur Smith is gone. He's going to be used the right way. Coaching staff is excited about him. Adonai Mitchell, love the injury to Josh Downs. No, just but it does open the door for AD Mitchell. And prior to landing spot, he was one of my favorite receivers to come out. Like I loved him so much more than Worthy. And I don't love his landing spot, but he's definitely electric enough to do something there. Joe Mixon, consistent RB1, year in, year out. Jared Goff, he's a good quarterback to take, like, and you really don't feel like you're settling because like you missed out on the first 11 or whatever. Like he's great, like in that aspect. Load up at your skilled positions and just roll with Goff. And the Lions are so fantasy friendly. You're very likely to you're very likely to end up with a stack accidentally even. And I think that Goff and Jameson Williams stack on the God Squad's really cool too. So um Chase Brown, another one I really like. He's
Matt,
one that yeah, Chase Brown I almost put on my God Squad as well. So he was someone I was eyeing. But yeah, overall, once again, Vinny put together the squad.
all right.
So
Our final squad.
final squad, we are gonna pull up Dr. Dry's God Squad. All right. So um we'll start off with right in the middle there. You see Tank Dell's head. I just replaced Zeus's face with Tank Dell's face. He's not officially on the God Squad, but wanted him to be represented, so he just
Can
gets
I
to be
get
in
a
the
Dell
graphic for
yeah,
fun.
brother?
And we just wanted to press the button. So Tank Dell not officially on the God Squad, but he's in the God Squad. So let's see. I kind of have mine. I tried to kind of keep it even. I got two quarterbacks. We got Jordan Love, who is like my big take last year. And then heading into dynasty seasons into the next year, like I was keeping him over guys like Tua and making that decision before everybody else kind of like, decide that his ADP should be higher. But he's that guy that you can get, as like the ninth, 10th quarterback off the board, and he's just loaded with so many weapons. They just keep adding guys that he can throw to. I'm not worried about Josh Jacobs dominating or anything like that. They drafted Marshawn Lloyd. He he might be just as active as Jacobs, but we're not a Josh Jacobs channel over here. So, um, he's got Jaden Reed, he's got Romeo Dobbs, just someone who's super dependable, super underrated, number one in that offense. Christian Watson, if you're into that sort of thing, he is at least a deep threat when healthy. And then, you got Dontavian Wicks, you got Bo Melton, you got those multiple tight ends over there. So and Jordan Love, he just I just feel like he's someone that you give the keys to and you feel good about it. So then we got Jaden Daniels. I think he has that upside to possibly finish QB1. I'm not going to play and say I'm predicting him to be QB1, but he has that upside, that top five quarterback upside overall. And he's someone that you can get as like the 12th QB off the board. If you are in a league that's hip to him and, I don't know, you have some savvier players that are willing to go deeper, you might want to draft him a round or two early than whatever his ADP is. Just to make sure that you get him if he's one of your guys. Um, and then let's see, we have Dalton Kincaid. He's one of those tight ends. There's basically four or five of them that I love drafting. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is the number one option in Buffalo. I think they drafted Keon Coleman. That's great and everything. Stephon Diggs leaves a lot of targets. They brought in some like Curtis Samuel and some guys, but Dalton Kincaid, that's Josh Allen's safety blanket. And he really showed something toward that second half of last year. If you see a rookie break out in that second half of the year, usually that next year is going to be pretty good. Um, so we got Dalton Kincaid there. So I see him with that. I only draft tight ends that, aren't in those like typical top three tight ends off the board, but they have all the potential in the world to finish tight end one. And that's what we look for here is that upside. So Dalton Kincaid, he made the God Squad. Next we have Isaiah Pacheco, runs like he bites people for fuck's sake. He's the man. They're not fooling around with like what was his name? Jerick McKinnon anymore. That passing work's gonna be there. They don't even know who the backup is. It could be one of a couple different guys. Carson Steele somewhat looking good, but he can't even hold Pacheco's jockstrap. So Isaiah Pacheco about to go off this season. And it's one of those pick and choose offenses, sort of like Joe Mixon being like the steady dose that you're going to get throughout the game. Like, yes, you have CJ Stroud and all those sexy, sexy weapons that he's throwing to. Same with Mahomes, he's got, Hollywood Brown and Rasheed Rice and Worthy and Kelsey and all that. But like that consistent hit you in your mouth thing that they're going to have is Pacheco. And he looked really good toward the end of last year, too, once he finally started getting some work. Um, my favorite rookie, Malik Neighbors, down there. I know he's got Danny Dimes throwing him the ball. Who cares? I think he's just that good. I think he's able to produce. Um, he went to wide receiver U. My Ohio State friends are not going to like that, but I think LSU is wide receiver U. And we saw it with Chase and Jefferson. They came out different years, but I kind of see that with like Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. So we always joke that our buddy Joe likes to put the HJ and MHJ. Let's put the BJ and BTJ. So you got Brian Thomas Jr. there, not smiling in his picture. He's all about his business. He's going to be the deep threat for the Jaguars. And I low key kind of like Jacksonville's offense this year. And I think he's going to add something to it. He had 17 touchdowns playing alongside Neighbors last year. He led the FBS in those touchdowns from wide receivers. So, I think he's just such a good physical specimen. Someone who will do really well for you this year, and someone that you can get in like the 8th round or something like that. Um, let's see. Kyle Pitts. He's on here for the second straight year. I'm ready to get hurt again. Um, Kyle Armpits. He was looking like he was gonna become Kyle Armpits because he stunk so bad, but it really wasn't his fault. And now he's got the deodorant that he needs in Kirk Cousins. So make things smell a little bit better in the A. And and Kyle Pitts, we we all love him. We want to see it happen. They've been lining him up at wide receiver. We don't have to talk about his talent anymore, but he's finally got sort of like Drake London and why his stock is up so high. Same, Kyle Pitts, he's a weapon. We've already known that. Now they have a coaching staff who knows that. Um, Another guy who felt kind of random to put on here, but Najee Harris, kind of the counterpart to Jalen Warren. I was a big Jalen Warren guy last year. Najee, I think, has a great opportunity with Warren being down right now. At least the first couple weeks there, to really and Warren will still get his touches, but Najee's in a contract year. Um, Arthur Butthole Smith is in town as the OC, which is surprisingly a good thing, because we've seen what he can do at OC. Another man on this list, Derrick Henry, he was the OC when Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards. He definitely is good with the run game, and Mike Tomlin can kick his ass. So, like, he's not going to let him take over, personnel and all that stuff. He's going to get his guys the ball. Um, as the OC, make sure they feeds Najee and Jalen Warren. But I think Najee's got something to prove. Just 2, 3 seasons ago, he finished RB3. So I know it's in there. And I believe he had like 25, 26, 27 points the last 2 weeks of the season. He won some people some fantasy championships at the end there. So kind of some recency bias for some people, I'm sure. Derrick Henry, Coach V alluded to it. Change of scenery. One of the top rushing offenses in the league last year. They might have been the top rushing offense, and they had Gus the Bus and just kidding Dobbins and whoever else, Keaton Mitchell, just kind of some guys that are not Derrick Henry. So now they got Derrick Henry. He is 30, 31 years old. I think he's got one more year of magic left. I know he's chasing a ring. He's definitely motivated. You've seen him. He's probably the strongest man in the NFL. Like, I think he can go toe to toe with some D linemen, and he's a beast. He belongs on here. I think he's got another year of magic left there. And then another strong man, DK Metcalf. They have a new OC over there in Seattle. And that's exciting. And I think I don't know, he's never really taken off like as that like bona fide wide receiver one. But I think this year he takes that next step with the new OC and a new scheme. Maybe JSN is like actually being used right and can take some of that pressure off DK and DK balls out. But yeah, definitely trust DK Metcalf. I think he's a great value in the fourth, fifth round, which is where he's going. And so I know we were only supposed to have 10. Um, and these are guys that you're drafting, but there are three other faces on here. And these are guys you're maybe not drafting, but keep an eye on them for week one waiver claims. So we have the Mayo man, if you look in the top left, right next to Jordan Love there. Will Levis, I think he's going off this year. I think they've surrounded him with some great talent. They have a real wide receiver room. They have a real O line now. They have, everything that you could be looking for. And it's going to be sink or swim. And I think the Mayo man gives some pap smears this year. So he's gonna go off. And that was a weird reference, but you get it. I don't know. I think of a pap smear as a sandwich and mayo. I don't know, but 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 yeah. So you got Will Levis. We've been screaming it, but he's not someone that you're really drafting. I mean, most rounds go about 15 rounds, and he's left there on the waivers for whoever to get him, and that's okay. But definitely keep an eye out for him. If you literally miss on everybody and you want to take a QB with your last pick or something, why not Will Levis? Like, he might be the best thing there. Um, let's see. Now down at the bottom, because he is on these guys' heels. Jalen Wright, quarterback out of Tennessee, went to the Dolphins, and A Chain's awesome. Raheem Mostert's not. And Mostert, I think, is going to get hurt. He is 32 years old. He is, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. He's 32 years old. He's coming off an all-time career high in touchdowns. He's been healthy I think he's missed 3 games in the last 2 years or something, but he was hurt his whole career before that. Do you bet on him being healthy for a 3rd year and just I don't know. I'm not making that bet. A-Chain's awesome, but, they do limit his touches. I think Jalen Wright is better built for that Mostert role, and I think he's so efficient. If you watched him in college, he's a home run hitter, as well. He had a RAS score of, like, 9.98 or something crazy like that. He's a baller, so, I mean, I think he's someone that you're taking maybe last round of drafts, and if not, then be ready on that waiver wire to scoop him up if you can. And then, yeah, over to the top right, you can I don't know, the StreamYard duck's kinda in the way, but I'll go ahead and say it, Joshua Palmer is quacktastic. So, Joshua Palmer now, and this is not a popular opinion at all, because everybody's in on Ladd McConkey. I love me some Ladd McConkey, great route runner, all that. Joshua Palmer is he has that rapport with Justin Herbert. And I hate what they've done in LA this offseason. Like that's I don't like the new coaching staff. Never been a Harbaugh guy. I think that the plan is to run it, but eventually they're going to be losing so bad that they're going to have to throw it. And I think Joshua Palmer's the guy that they want to get the ball to. He's been good in start spots. In spots where Quentin Johnston should have stepped up, and he didn't, and that left the door open for Joshua Palmer. I think Justin Herbert's so much more um, comfortable throwing to Joshua Palmer. I'm not in on Justin Herbert this year, but if he has to throw to somebody, I think it's going to be Joshua Palmer. So he's just over there. You're definitely not drafting him, but be on the lookout for those early waiver wire ads for him. And that is Dr. Dry's 2024 God Squad.
I tell you, whoever Jaden Daniels' dentist is, round of applause for that man.
Oh man,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a pretty smile.
You got some pearly whites on this squad right here. Holy cow. I thought I had a good set of grills going on here, but these guys are lighting it up. So, the only reason I'm always have been hesitant to take Malik Neighbors is quarterback play. I mean,
Oh yeah.
what are they doing there? I just worry about that way too much to even consider taking him. Um, the only other thing I was wondering is to get your input on this. Even when I've been doing my drafts, and I've seen everyone reaching for at least what I thought was reaching for Dalton Kincaid. I've had Kincaid and Knox in the past, and it frustrated me as none other seeing the Bills use the tight ends almost every play, but just throw them in there to block. And I'm like losing out on some PPR reps. I would have loved to see it, but that's why I personally have not been drafting. But it's good to get a different input on
Yeah.
someone like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kincaid is their pass catcher and Knox is more their blocker. Toward the end of the year, you saw Kincaid really come alive. At the beginning of the year, it was really frustrating. It was like being a Jameer Gibbs owner. Like you could have ended up rage trading the guy. Like I know, like I did. But Malik Neighbors, it's strictly the talent with him. I think he's him. I think he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they'll find ways to get him the ball, whether it's through bubble screen slants. He's just a playmaker, and and then neighbors. He's just that good. So and a lot of this is just a feeling. So like yeah, that's where neighbors comes in. I was just on him really early, so very excited to have him on the G squad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Kincaid I think Keon Coleman's like going to be a big red zone target, but Kincaid's going to be like a move the sticks guy for them. And then whatever red zone action he gets, I think he's going to progress. But yeah, it'll still be frustrating because I think the Bills do want to run the ball. So you're going to see situations where stupid Dawson Knox is blocking.
Could be more possibly. Yeah, it's other
Kincaid's
tight
gonna
ends
have
that a lot.
like this year compared to last year, Kincaid will have better stats. I think that's 100%.
Yeah, I also I've been really liking Evan Ingram. I think he's a really good tight end to get, and he goes even later than those guys. And then also the dude out of Arizona, was it Trey
Oh,
McBride?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Trey McBride a lot too. I think he's a like a 1B to Harrison. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, one of those things. It's the God Squad. I think we had about half of the guys work out last year, or did we I don't remember if we completely missed or what, but I'd
Yeah,
love to look at that again.
we had a handful do well. Are you
I
finding
can pull them up.
it? Don't do
Oh, postseason 2023 God Squad. Where's the Oh, here it is. All right, so last
that.
year,
All right.
so I mean, there was some borderline first round dudes here, but St. Brown, great. Pollard, not so much. Missed on Lawrence. I'd say we missed on Ridley.
Yeah.
When given the chance, he produced, but he just wasn't given
Yeah.
it too often in that scheme.
Yeah. So we got St. Brown. We got Gibbs. That was a miss. That was a miss.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say we hit on Zay.
Yeah.
Missed on Pitts.
We hit on Tank, but he was hurt. So
Yeah. Same with the AR.
yeah.
Like we knew the talent. Garrett Wilson, I think that's a hit. But
Yeah. So about half.
about half.
Okay.
So
we presented like 30 guys today. 15. Guaranteed 15 of those are going to work out for you. Which 15? Don't ask us.
Don't ask us.
That's like when a professor ends a lecture and says, half of everything I said today was bullshit. I don't know which half.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the 2024 FQF God Squads. Tons of fun to make those. I think everybody did a great job. And we'll see how those things pan out. We'll probably check in like mid-season, see how the boys are doing. And then probably do like a postseason God Squad too. And we'll probably do that collectively. But we'll see. And then so we have drafts coming up, everyone except for Vinny. But he deserves a nice draft coming up, but he just doesn't have one right now. Can't you get him one with like your work boys this week or something?
No one plays. There was one old guy named Fonz, which is way cool that his name is Fonz. And he was like, so what's fantasy football? And I was like explaining it to him, and I was like, you want to start a league together?
Yeah, I just started my new job today. I don't think I could get something together in a week. I'm still trying to just learn how to log on and stuff.
You're like, hey everyone, can we just like pause the onboarding real quick? I'm gonna try to start a fantasy draft.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
So yeah, so I mean, we all got drafts coming up. I guess just wanted to open forum at upcoming draft tips from the boys. Because I've thought of or I saw like a really savvy thing last week in a draft that I thought was like, I don't know, kind of interesting that a lot of people just don't do. So I'll kind of start with that. So one of my friends, we won't say who, I don't want to give away whose strategy it is or whatever, but I saw he took an injured guy and did not draft a kicker at the end. And we had IR spots. And I think that was brilliant because you're already putting off kicker. Like, I mean, most of us are putting off kicker. And if or you can do the same with defense really if you don't have a defense that you're targeting or you're streaming defenses every week. But basically ignoring one of those positions, take an injured person like I believe he took TJ Hawkinson, like great 15th round pick. Throw him in your IR, then go pick up your kicker or defense once waiver wires open. So um I thought that was a really savvy move. If you have 2 IR spots, draft 2 injured people and ignore kicker and defense. If that's your cup of tea. I know I will forever stream defense and kicker. It's just not something that and a lot of leagues are doing away with the kicker, which is sad, but yeah. So so I thought that was really cool. And then also, just, get players that you like. I think that's like why we're all doing this. Like, swing for upside, in those mid to late rounds. I wouldn't be going for the person with the high floor in those spots. Like you're securing like because your draft, like it's less of a sure thing every round and more of a gamble. Um, and if you like gambling, make sure that you head on over to Underdog Fantasy. Use code Fifth Core Fantasy, and Underdog will match your deposit for up to $100 plus one handful of Chex Mix. Um, and so so yeah, I mean, it just becomes more of a gamble. Also, remain risk adverse. Like I don't know, like we're starting to see some contract situations clear up, which is great. But I started noticing it in my draft that I had. I had the ninth pick, and right now, like the top eight is pretty much get your guy. Like everybody has an argument for the 1.1. It's not just draft CMC and don't think about it. I think but a lot of those people had a Q on there or a DNR or, some sort of injury lingering or they just haven't reported because of a contract situation. So like I think it was like a good 7 out of 8 like had that going on. And it's like, okay, well, nothing's really a sure thing. And if you have the 1.1, I think that's kind of the worst pick that you can have right now. Just because you can get equal or less, equal or close to value in those first 8 picks. I don't think it goes down till about pick 9. Um, and someone will fall, like someone's going to have their guy that they take over someone else. But yeah, get players that you like. Um, and that's kind of the main thing. Have fun always. And good luck in your draft. So that's kind of my tip.
I always like to look for as stay in line with the squad. Look for that upside later in the draft. There's a lot of potential to be had, especially when you get later in the drafts, your 15th, 16th round. You got a lot of these guys no one's ever heard of, and everyone's thinking it's a hot dumpster fire. But some of those guys are going to pan out. So take a swing on some of those guys, read up on them, and see what they're all about. Maybe they had some good uh, production in college and are able to make it pretty big in the pros. I know Sam Laporta went in one of my drafts last year in the very last round. So it just goes to show that even those guys late can and do produce year in and year out. A couple years before that, it was Garrett Wilson being taken in the I think 16th round. So um, keep an eye out for those guys. Don't give up when it gets towards the end and just put the rest on auto pick. Maybe take your kicker a little bit earlier and secure that guy you need, and then go for them other guys later instead of waiting for the kicker at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah, last year, my last round guy was Puka. I would get Tank like somewhere in the mid to late. So I mean, you find those guys, and if they're deep enough, like at least you know about them. Patrick Mahomes was one of those guys just a few years ago. Cooper Cup was one of those guys before, like the year before he broke out. So yeah, definitely don't treat those late rounds like it's lazy if you're just accepting Tyler Lockett. Like, just like swing for that upside and keep them on the bench until they break out. A lot of times these rookies or players that you're waiting to break out, it might take them half the year. So it really helps if you have like a deeper bench or something like that. If it's a shallow bench, kind of harder to pull off. But yeah, I mean that's the way to go, I think. Because and those guys are there, especially if you're in keeper leagues. That's how you build that year to year wealth. So like there are people out there that have Justin Jefferson, and they're only giving up a 15th round pick because they got him his rookie season. Um, so I mean, yeah, that's I always thought that was cool how it's like, oh, how do you have this person and this person, multiple like, and they still have like their top 10 rounds, and it's like, you build, it's like building generational wealth, but for your keeper team. Um, so yeah, really good strategy there, I think.
I would just add know enough about enough guys that you can like pivot at any pick.
Pivot?
So just know enough. Don't just know about the guys that they talk about on sports talk radio. Like know about the rookies, know about the guys who are like undrafted free agents. And if you do that, then no matter where you pick in the draft, no matter what round it is, there will be names you'll know their background, you'll know their potential, and then you can make a good pick at every pick and be happy about your pick. If you don't know people, then you're going to pick some name you don't know, and you read the bio real fast right before you picked it, and then you're going to be like disappointed. So just know enough. Arm yourself with information.
Yep. Yeah, and another thing, you say you're in a live draft, and I don't know, I don't know, I know the one that I go to, they hand out like a sheet, and it's got ADPs. It's from like ESPN or some shit, which is different than like we play on Sleeper most of the time. So like knowing that that's what everyone is referring to whenever they're looking, I know where they're going, but I have my own rankings. I'm not a slave to ADP or anything. So like, it's a good guideline to know where they're going and where their mind is thinking. They're like, "Oh, I can get this guy later." Like, jump up and get him. Like, that's another go get your guy. Don't, just depend on the ADP on a sheet of paper or anything. Just at all costs, you got to get your person. So that's that. And that's
Great tip.
doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders.
Don't forget. That was a great tip. The don't be slave um, to the ADP. I think a lot of people get sucked into that and forget to look a little bit further down. And if they look down, they worry they're reaching. You may not be reaching, but you may be picking at the turn. You have another 20 picks or more before you even pick again. So look a little bit further down sometimes if you don't like anyone that's up top or the positions available don't fit what you're looking for.
Yeah. And it's kind of like whenever you have a baby at the hospital, like you have a birth plan, but that can go out the window pretty quick, and just don't be stuck to that birth plan with your fantasy team, because it is one of the most beautiful things that you can create. And if you have this plan on exactly how it's going to look and everything, and that falls through, like, just like if you're like, I'm gonna go zero RB, but like there's a terrific RB just sitting there, like, I don't know, say Derrick Henry drops to the fourth round because people are like, oh, he's old. Like, scoop him up late third. It's there's no reason why guys should be falling, but if they do, take advantage. And that's how you truly get ahead in your leagues, is finding those first rounders that dip to the second, finding those second rounders that dip to the fourth, and for whatever reason people are out on, and because they don't have as good, they don't have as, they haven't done their research like you have. They're not ready like you, and you're a damn good fantasy player. You listen to Fifth Core Fantasy Cast. You go get yourself a fucking championship this year.
Wow. Wow. I think we have to end on that. I think that's the motivational moment. So thanks for watching. I hope this helps everyone in the draft. Next week, me and Peepaw by ourselves will be starting earlier because we're old and we're sleepy. And we'll be getting you ready for week 1. So get ready for some not helpful analysis from us. get ready to lose your first week's matchup. So don't forget when you go out into the world to do 5 things, and those things are live, laugh, love, like, and subscribe. Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast.
Whoa.